Hey folks, Fred here for Wheeze and Geezer TV. Wheeze and Geezer TV is brought to you by nobody. That's right, I don't have any sponsors. Sure could use some subscribers, and that's where you come in. Today, what we're doing is we're kind of looking at one of my month-long projects. A lot of it was research, trying to figure out how to do something, but anyway. I had a want when I started this wipe. I wanted to build a working lighthouse with a rotating light at the top. I wanted to create a lighthouse with rows of garage doors that all opened, you know, in sync. This is the house part of it, which is where I live. And a beautiful view here. Can't quite get close enough to see Anon's tower up there on top of the rock, but we'll be across there later on and get a good look at that too. But I have such a beautiful view here. Got a little room here that leads to nothing. It's just a sitting room. But I wanted to incorporate the whole house, you know, square house look along with this fantastic lighthouse. Like I said, that was my bedroom down below, and this is the main living quarters here. This is just the main entrance. There's the Game of Thrones chairs. And this is just to get a good, you know, good look at the place. Beautiful view. Cold as hell out here. We'll go out and take a look at it here. I didn't have to see if there were any animals out here to kill me first, but probably look alright. Rock scared. So there it is, my lighthouse. And I tried to give it, you know, kind of an artistic look by staggering different types to give it a, you know, an artistic feel to it. But the whole idea was to incorporate that whole squared house look into a round tower. This is wheezing power and light over here, but I have a massive amount of power there and stuff, but it's for when I do my experiments and stuff over here, figuring stuff out. Again, we'll go show you this beautiful view here. And the view from over here is like a postcard. And this is the laboratory, basically. I kind of work things out, make adjustments, that kind of thing. So look at the lighthouse then. Oh, that is what this whole thing is about, isn't it? Of course, we have the rust rug. And we got level 3 and repair bench, just a simple box to put stuff in. But I did this cool effect where I just kind of built straight up. I thought it looked pretty cool. Kind of changing in colors, textures. This is the cooking area, of course. DC in a box stashed under the stairs. Works real nice. Now we do gotta duck down to get through these. And there's two ways up. One, of course, is to jump over on... Oops, excuse me, I opened up a screen over here. One is jumping up on this and just climbing up the roof. And I have another one where I have a ladder hatch over here. And this was meant to be storage and stuff, and my loot room. But it ended up kind of being the battery room. Lots of batteries out here, all being used. But I still have, you know, my loot room, sort of. And this is the newest addition, which is, when I design this, I don't do it with you in mind. I do it with me trying to Frankenstein this thing together to make it all work and blah blah. But it's just a simple routine done over and over again. You know, you start out here with whatever you're powering it with a switch that goes to a rust clock set at 1 second, so that it just tick, 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 sending a pulse down here, and everything is on a counter, and I have them at 4 seconds apart. And then everything is just like, you got the actual power, I got lazy. I didn't want to have to figure out, you know, how much power I needed and all this kind of stuff. So I just put a large battery on everything. Runs up to a blocker, goes to an electrical branch. This one is configured for, what is it, 50? I had them set for 50 because I was going to work this so that it worked in both directions. So I was going to leave the other 50 to come out of the other electrical branch, so you can actually just go ahead and set it for 100 because you're going to send all your power through. But I was going to do it twice. I was going to have this thing cascade up and then back down. But when I realized not only it had nothing to do with how much work it was going to be, because I was going to put in the work, but I just thought the whole effect was going to be lost. And I didn't like that. I thought it looked cool the way it was with one pass. So I didn't need the other 50 power. But anyway, I send all the power through to the box. And this is going to be set for 4 seconds. And then the next one's going to be 8. And the next one's going to be 12. And the next one's going to be 16. And so on and so on and so on. And actually it goes up to 56 on the one that I'm doing here. This one here is actually taking the power from the backside of this, and that's what's feeding it its power. It's just using the normal 2 allocated power to come down here and click every time that clock up there ticks to change the counter, and then the rest of it goes out the right side, which is the power side, and goes on to the next electrical branch that is doing that portion, which is the one right next to the box, right next to the box, right next to the box, and they're all just kind of subroutining over as we go. Just got to make sure you have enough power. And again, I even did that same thing there. I used a separate battery. You can save a lot of power by figuring out, you know, how many floors you can power off of one battery and all that kind of stuff. But when you just have that many batteries, you just place them down and say, this is going to be that much easier. This one is what hits the reset switch. It's only got to have, it's basically the same thing as this. You're daisy chaining it back and forth, but we're chaining it from the other end, coming back this way as it resets all the reset switches. And that's what its only function is, and it even has its own power source to work it, so that when that last one hits, so see, it's just the same routine all the way down, but when the last one hits, instead of, this is the last one, when it hits, this one goes off at the same time, but its power doesn't go to the next one over here. It actually goes down to start the chain of events on the reset all the way back. And what this is my cascading doors. So I'll show you that, I guess, real quick. So all of the doors, because it's the memories of the display boxes hold their memory, so it knows what number it was on, so it'll open all of them up to that point. Cool, it's right at the very top. They'll all cascade down. And then they'll start rotating up one at a time. Which I thought was a pretty cool effect. The whole idea was to see if I could do it. Because like everybody else, I'm just learning this whole electrical thing. I'm by no means a wizard at this. I have to think about stuff, and trial and error, and look at what other people are doing and modify it, or rethink it. And in many cases, copy what they're doing and, you know, figure it out. But this, I figured out on my own. I knew how to do it. I was trying to figure out how to make it come back down. But then I thought, man, as long as that thing takes to go up there, which is 56 seconds, it's going to take 56 seconds for them to come cascading down. And I like the effect so much better as just a reset. And then it starts to do the thing. And it really looks cool at night and from a distance. It looks kind of like these discs. You'll see what I'm talking about. But that's what that whole section does. And it's just that simple routine that I showed you. Just repeated over and over and over again, kind of daisy chained together. And the timers changed 4 seconds per floor, because I tried 5 and it was too much of a stall between, you know, things like that. Tried 3 and it was too soon, and they were coming up over top of each other. And 4 kind of worked out pretty good. So it was kind of like when one ended, the next one started, kind of a cascading thing. Or at least that's as close as we could get without it giving us the option to go into decimal points and stuff, because I would have worked it. I'd have said, no, that's about 4.25. Let's try that. You know, I would have got nitpicky. It appears I need to eat. And I'll go show you the rest of the tower, because there is more to see. And then we'll wait for the whole nighttime thing, so you can get a really cool look at it. I guess we can wait for it to drop down one more time real quick. Had to wire every door on every floor and run wires to other wires. Still got all my daily chores to have to do. Oop, take the quick way up. I haven't got this hooked up yet so that it comes on when it gets night. I am going to do that. You know, I was just happy to get the dang thing done. And they'll all close when I do that, which is really cool. But as soon as I turn it on, whatever number they were at, so if they were like way down here, all those will open immediately when you turn this on. Let's find out where they're at. 34, yeah, see, it's like way down there. All those are going to be open. Now they'll all close. But it holds that position. It knows its memory. And again, wherever you're doing electrical stuff, always make sure you have a repair bench. And I would say at least a workbench 2. I have a workbench 3 because I always just throw that down everywhere. So you're going to need at least a 2, because some things cannot be crafted on a workbench 1, like blockers. And all I've done is every level I've tried to give it kind of a lived-in look. All these things are empty. Left chairs laying around them and stuff. But the whole idea was to kind of give it kind of a barracks feel. Because, of course, I live here alone. This one goes up even further. I thought it was a real cool effect when I did that. And again, this is just made to give it that homey feel. Now everything's got a lot of electrical work on every level. When I started putting these in, I was putting them in with splitter boxes. And I realized that I was actually, even though it didn't use all the power, it was really a waste to do it that way. And you'll see, like, halfway up here, things change. A lot of these had to get wires that went to this far, and then they had to daisy chain further up. And when I put down wires, I tried to put them so that they're going across the ceilings, because more people are looking at the floor. And it doesn't stop you like it does sometimes, like when you're doing wiring and all of a sudden you can't move, and it's because the wires are on the floor stopping you. Yeah, just a lot of little, like, I call them like guard stations. This one is the whole power for the upper part as far as the rotating light. And again, we're daisy chaining so we can get some further up to the top. I don't know how many levels this is, if anybody was asking. I don't know. I just built it until it was really unstable. I mean, I had to, eventually start putting beams in the center of all my rooms. This is another battery section. Oop. Another battery section. All the way around. And this leads up to the top. Again, we have a beautiful view. Oh, he's getting prefab errors. Bugger. Beautiful view from up here. It's very cold. This is the second portion of the unit. This is the rotating light, because I have this set up as 6 sections, like a pie. I wonder why that one is one number off. It should not be. Something goofy going on there. Okay, it reset. It needed to reset. That's all it was. And I got them set to go 1 second apiece, so that as they rotate around, we've got 6 sections of the pie, and the lights come on once every 6 seconds. You kind of see them bleeding through the jack-o'-lantern there. They're looking like flashes is what they look like. That was only for a second there. I guess it's not doing it this time. But yeah, every 6 seconds it'll come around to give it that rotating light effect. So I'll leave that on for a second. Got this here so I don't accidentally back out and kill myself. And this is the last level of the Cascading Doors, which is 6 of them. And this takes us up here, but there's no more safety net up here. It's just nothing but a dangerous drop-off. And that's why I've got it all caged in. But this is the rotating lights. You know, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. It was to see if I could do it. And then once I learned how to do this and figured this out, the timing and how everything works and what you got to configure and all that kind of stuff, I used the same principle on the doors, but I didn't need a timer. So then I had to figure out, well, how do you do this without the timer and, you know, still get everything to mesh? And then once I figured that out, which wasn't very long, it was just like, do this, hook that to this, try that, put that on that door, and then boom. Now, here's something else that I didn't do, but I can, and you may not know this. You can put more than one door controller on a door. Because, see, I have 2 door controllers on each one of those doors because I was going to have them cascade up and then cascade down. But when I looked at it from a distance, when I got halfway through, I realized in my mind what that would look like, and I thought, that looks so much cooler the way it is, where they just cascade up, and then the whole thing just kind of resets. So I was going to have them go up and down, but it was going to take forever, and it actually wasn't going to look as cool. But anyway, this is my rotating light. Break it down and turn the battery off before I end up. There's probably 4 hours battery. Beautiful view up here, but I'm not going to stick around because I have this thing about heights. Whoa, that's not good. But at least I know I'm safe in here. That is my lighthouse. I will. Oh, we are getting to where it's going to be dark. I need to get down there. So I'll just run. Oh, I need to turn that thing so it's just automatic. It'll come on when it's supposed to. And it comes on earlier than normal lights because I'm also using the trick that I came up with for how to make your lights come on sooner and stay on longer. So otherwise, my light would only be on from red sky morning to red sky night. Screw that. I'm trying to get down this thing fast. It is pretty fast to get down. The print for this thing is really easy. It took me forever to come up with. I'm sure there's millions of people that use the same footprint. Because I tried all kinds of stuff. Get down here. It's kind of a quicker way, I think. Oh, I need to turn on the cascading doors. I have to do that manually. I don't have it set for lights yet. In that case, let's just go out to quick light. Yeah, it's getting night. It's going to be perfect. For bears. Yeah, rotating light's already on. It's not perfect, but it's rust perfect. Would you live there? If you said yes, you need to hit that like button. Did you like what you saw? Wow, it's dark. Didn't realize it was that dark. Now if we can get over here without some animals killing us. I believe we get about 10 minutes for the darkness, so I can get a pretty good view of this. I'm going to get over here a little bit. We'll see Anon's Tower finally turning itself on here in our graphics, because this thing only draws so far. You know how much graphics are. And speaking of graphics, I realize that my videos are a little choppy, and that's because I have, I need a new video card and things like that, and I'm taking care of that later on tonight. A real quick look at Anon's Tower. Perched high upon that rock, which I lived there first, and I just knew it was going to be perfect for him, and I wanted to be close to my quarries. But I like that whole, look kind of like space age thing where it's got those like discs. You can see the light rotating around there. I mean, that's not a bad effect. Now, I actually had to build scaffolding around the place to put those lights in. It was just too dark. And then I can only go so high, and then I worked it and worked it and worked it. Alright, so I'm going to run in a little bit closer if we can. Going to be light on this real soon. Lights finally got off the top. I don't think I can get in there. Ooh, maybe. Ooh. Ooh, shakalaka. So what do you think? Do you like that? Did I do all right? cool thing is you can actually only hear them for a ways. And then it gets quieter and quieter, where you can't even hear them anymore. About halfway up. As long as you're away from that, you don't hear anything. Okay. What I want to do here is I want to show you the basic footprint of what I was doing, or what I was trying to do, my attempt. And that is that I needed to, or what I had hoped to do, was create a lighthouse, six-sided, because I wanted the light to kind of appear to be centrally located, as if it was going around, rather than being squared and going around, you know, in a square. So my problem from here was I tried so many different things to try to make this happen. Triangles all the way around and all kinds of stuff, and it just would not come together. It was always somewhere where they had some strange gap that I couldn't fill. And then finally I stumbled upon it, and basically what it is you put a square at the end of every triangle and a triangle at the end of every square, and you fill it in with triangles. So this is what we would have here, and then we fill that in with triangles. Okay, then you triangle on every square, square on every triangle, and fill it in with triangles. So we'll start with squares, being we're already on them. Put a triangle in every square. Oh, it's not going to let me do that one. We'll just pretend. We'll just pretend. This is just for the display purposes. And then a square on every triangle. God, this took me a long time. I know some people probably, it's like no problem. They've been doing this for years and they understand all this. But for me, I'm new. Fairly new. I mean, you know, a few months. Why do I keep doing that? Just fast fingers of mine. Well, that's the basic gist of the layout. Square on every triangle, triangle on every square. And that was the basic design, with this being the center. And then I started out with like putting stairs would be in this square and this square going up, and then I would turn it around so that you go back and forth, so you didn't have to go that far. And then when we get into the inner part, it was a lot closer. You just go from up here, back down to here, back up here, and back down here, and you just keep going back and forth. It makes going up and down really easy. Now what I did is when I got to a spot where I had like two open spots like that, that's where I decided I was going to extend out and create my house. So I would just, you know, bring it out a little ways and create my little house. And it got to be to where like this, where I couldn't put it there because it was too dang high up. So I started putting it down there, the lower section, and then I just created stairs down there, and it created like this little outlook or whatever. But that's the basic design and how it was created and what it was supposed to be. It all originated from this being six-sided, so that when it gets up to the top, up there, the light appears to go around in a circle. Now I got to destroy all this. But anyway, that is the footprint basically on what it's supposed to be and how it all was originated. And I'll be back in a minute with some other stuff. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you a little quick rundown of the rotating light sequence. which is actually what's still on the wall here, pretty much. But this is kind of a garbled mess and a little harder to explain. So I thought I would kind of start fresh and just do a basic rundown of what we got. We're starting in there at the bottom over here with our last combiner, and the reason we're using a combiner is because what we have is a large power source. In this case, it was like, I don't know, good lord, a huge power source. We are at, it's probably getting to be, yeah, it's starting to be evening. That's why we are down a little bit. 752, and normally it's running maybe over 1100. Anyway, that is not the point. What we are going to do is we first have to create a clock, the Rust clock. So we will, let's see, which one am I going to first? Yeah, it's this one first. We'll be going here, and we are going to configure this for 100 units of power. Okay. Make sure that's set 100 units of power. And we're going to take from, okay, now the way a branch, electrical branch works, when you configure it, you're configuring it for the branch side. And the other side is the power side. Now both of them are power, okay? But what you're doing is you're allocating power that the first 100 units will go through this side first. So if it drops below 100 units, the other side will get none. You understand? So we are using, what we're doing is we're going to steal 100 units of power. I'm actually going to go in the other room, and I'm not going to do everything that I would normally do. I'm going to cheat and use part of what's already there. Because what we would do there is we would bring it in here, and I'm going to branch it off of these. Okay? So I'm going to steal this, and I'm going to hook this one to it. So that we're now charging all these batteries off of it. But what I do is I run that power into a splitter and then split that off to more splitters depending on how many batteries I want to charge. Okay? As long as I got some sort of power coming in. 48 is plenty. Anything over 40 is great, because if you have 40 units all day long, you will charge your battery long enough to last you all night long. So we're doing fine there. So that's just stealing because I'm trying to use it for this example. So we would run this, configure this for 100 because a battery's maximum is 100. So we're just going to steal that at 100. It doesn't matter, it's being split. Now, the rest of this, we're going to come down and connect to the bottom of this one, so that it now has power. And for my example in there, what you're going to be doing is, in my example in the other room, we use 65. Because what we're doing is we're allocating power that we are going to use as we daisy chain it down. Because this would be at least 6 units long. But I'm just going to show you one and how you would daisy chain it together. And for my example, I needed 65 units as it went down. Okay, we are oh yeah, we are connecting this side to the switch. This side is going to become our power for the other side over here. So we'll just bring it down, bring it over, and bring it up. That will become our next power source for our first actual light. Okay, so from the switch here, we are going to go into this electrical branch. And now this one we're just going to leave configured at 2, which is what it comes stock out of the box. We're going to leave it at 2 because what we're going to do is we're configuring this side, the branch side, for 2. And from there, we're going to go in and power the timer. Let me see if I can get that configured. I should be able to activate it now and need to be able to configure it. Oh, didn't even do that. Maybe it's not going to let me do it yet. Okay, so anyway, the other side goes up here, and our power out, of course, is up there. This side we want, again, it's going to be configured for what it normally is right out of the box, too. That's all it needs to be. I'm not sure which side that was trying to connect to, so we're going to stop that. We want the branch side out. And this one goes down. We are going to bring it out a little bit. Come down, and it goes right to the side of the timer. I should be able to configure that by now. Maybe I need to use have be on a different button or something. No, that isn't going to work. I need to be able to configure that before it has power. Or maybe I have to give it power, but not. Not sure. That's what I needed. Oh, I didn't need to hit activate. But that's what I need, is that switch, so when it comes around again, I should have the option again, I believe. Oh. It's set for like 10 seconds. I need it set for 1. So maybe if I turn that off, it'll let me do it now. No, not yet. It has to actually have power, I guess. I'm still trying to get used to this myself as to how all this works. Damn it. There. So I pulled down to the timer, and I'm going to have to set that for 1 second. So we'll see if it picks up time or if it didn't take it. Okay. Yeah, it's not working. Not yet. I've got to be able to get that. When it does it, I got to do it for that split second. There we go. God, that's tricky to get that. Come on. Okay, so now the clock should be working. It is a bear to try to get that thing in there because you got to do it while it's running, apparently. I'm still getting used to this whole thing on timers. So maybe there is. I've seen people just, configure it, and I haven't quite figured that out. But anyway, now it's set so that it's every second. Okay, now the output comes to the side of the block. And then it's just kind of a constant rotation. One second, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. And there you go. That's the Rust clock. The hard part is getting that damn thing to let you configure it. Now from here, the power side out at the top, it's going to come over to here. Let me bring this down and kind of around, I guess. It's going to power this one. And this is basically the same thing as that one, but it's going to be down here now as we start working our way across. So we've got our power source, which came from here, which we had configured at 65 units, which came here. And here we need, I know I need like 10 units of power coming out of there. That 10 units of power goes here. The excess is what you would start your next line with. So if you were going to do multiples of this and had the power source coming in to do it, you would start your next line here, putting this here, and then 2 more there, another one up here, put the next display box there, and another timer up there, and just follow the same routine I'm doing here. But all you're doing is you're just taking it, putting another one over there. You would take your other end here, bring it around, just like your daisy chain, and go into the next one, and then power that one, and then do the same thing there. You would come off of this side here and do the same thing. Just keep following that same pattern as you daisy chain your way through it. Now, I'm not going to be hooking the whole thing up. I'm just explaining to you how it works, because we're not going to hook up a light. I'm not going to hook up certain other things. This is just to show you how it's done. If you follow what I'm saying, it'll work just fine. Now, this one, I need to configure this one because of what I'm doing. I need to configure this for 8. Because I knew this one had to be 10 because it's going to use power source, power as it comes through here. And this one, we are splitting the other side, aren't we? Is that correct? Because it's not on the wall the way I normally would do it, but it's the way I'm going to put it there so I can explain. Yeah, that's what I thought. That has to go there. So yeah, this is fine. Yeah, normally I have the timer over on the other side, and so it really threw me off on the diagram. But we were configuring this for 8, and on this we are setting our target for, in this case, 1 second, because we are starting it on the 1. This, oh wait a minute, let's go from here, goes to the bottom of the timer, correct? No, this is the, to the, we'll just bring it over there. We'll pass that up to the top on this one. And this, the right side, is powered there. Now I should be able to set that timer, and this is for 1 second. All of my clock durations are set to 1 second, and so that they'll stay on for 1 second, then it goes off, and this one's on for a second, then this one's on for a second, and this one's on for a second as it rotates around. So this is set for 1 second. If I did the same routine, see now from here, the power goes out to your light. And it's just the same routine. This side goes to, so that this thing registers when it clicks 1 second, this thing will register 1 second, which will click this thing off, toggle this thing to let power through. So this one is still just configured for 2, because all it's doing is needs enough power to activate that. This, again, if we're doing a second one of these, this is where you would daisy chain off of the side of this, you know, and bring it around over to that next one of those, so that it activates the counter and it just keeps working that chain. I'll show you that in the other room. Just work on this diagram, and I'll show you the rest of it in the other room. This one is for powering the reset switch on its way back, because down here, when it's done with the chain, you're going to run it through another electrical branch and start sending signals back to reset all the timers to 0. But that is your basic setup. Now, okay, so this side over here is the rust clock. I explained how it is. I hope you wrote that down. You can always pause it and that kind of stuff. The other part is for how to work a timed light. And again, you would just daisy chain off of this and create another loop just like that, and another one, and another one, and another one. Set all the timers to 1 second, because you want them to run for 1 second if you're going to do a rotating light system like that. And you want to set the display box 1 second apart. So this first one will be 1, my second one will be 2, my third one will be 3, my fourth one will be 4, my fifth one will be 5. So that it knows in the count, as they're all counting up exactly the same, where it is in the count and what's going on. So what that would look like, without all this skunk down here, is, you know, we get down to where it's the same routine over and over and over again on the wall. But when it gets down here, before power goes out to a light, which I don't have up anymore, or it's not hooked to it, or maybe it is, it goes to another branch where it sends a signal back along the bottom here to reset all the timers. I don't know if it's hooked up correctly or not. We'll hit it. Oh, it has no power because I took the power. And we'll steal the power back. Yeah, I didn't have to do it here. Steal the power right here. Stole. So boom, shaka-laka, boom. So there you go. Oh, I have the, I stole that. I stole power on a couple of these that were supposed to be light, and hooked them up to those. So it's doing some funky stuff right now. Because some of those are lights and some of them are hooked up to doors. But you see how they count up all at the same time, all based off of the clock. And they activate on their timer, which is 1 second apart. In this case, I think they're set for 2, because I was still testing. But that's the premise. I'm gonna steal that power back. Dadgummit. I hate that I moved something across there. I hate going across the floor. Now, if you were running from a different power supply, like from a battery, you would of course have a blocker down here instead of this, and you would have something to block the power, which would be from a solar panel. You would take from that to the side of the solar, or from the to the side of the blocker to block its power. Actually, you would want to put a switch in between. You'd want to come from here to a switch, out of the switch to the blocker, and the bottom of the blocker would be your battery power coming in and power coming out of the top. That would allow you to use a solar panel for your power to block it. Now that's only if you're doing it like for something like a rotating light at night. But anyway, that is the basic premise and the basic rundown of how that works. The only difference between this and what I did for the doors, let me get to this. I'm going to take that out of there. Take that completely out of the equation. And it's exactly the same thing. We're still doing the same thing with this is a reset and this is the counter. But in this case, for the doors, that's still set to 1 second because I'm just using it as a clock. And I set this to 4 seconds, and the next one to 8 seconds, and the next one to 12 seconds, and the next one to 16 seconds, and the next one to 20 seconds, and I got mine set all the way up to 56 seconds. But it's the same thing, except for from here, the power would go out to a either a splitter, which is really not the way to go. It's the way I started out, but it's not the way to go. The way to go is to an electrical branch, and then just using 2 units of power to each one of your blockers. So it's starting to become night. I'm going to go get a good look at the I'm going to get across the river before it gets dark, so I can see my lighthouse at night. Oh, I got to hit the switch for the doors. Because I've kind of been waiting for this moment. So those will start off on the last number it was on. so I can see it at a distance, and now then I'll move forward. Don't I have a regular flashlight? I do. Because I hate that bouncing. Not nearly as bad with a flashlight. Now originally, I'd planned for it to cascade up, cascade down, one level at a time. But when I got halfway through and looked at it, I realized how long that was going to take and how ineffective the look was. It was cool going up because it was the novelty of the whole thing, but it was cool when it kind of cascaded down all at the same time like that, to cover it all back up and start the whole thing over again. And I thought of how much better it looked just doing that than it would if I had actually completed the project. It would look worse. And you'll notice when you go through there that there's 2 door controllers on every door, even though I'm only using one, because I had planned to use the same system coming back down. Because if you didn't know, you can put more than one door controller on a door. Oh, I didn't know that. Hit the like button. Thank you. Because that's what you're supposed to do. Help a brother out. Even if it's an old brother. But anyway, that was the intent of my lighthouse. I'll try to get some more footage of it. But if you liked my lighthouse, like the video, hit that button, help a brother out. I gave you some ideas. Hit the like button, help a brother out. Anyway, I guess that's going to be it. No begging on my part. We'll see you in the next one. I gotta go shut that down. Now the cool thing is, you can only hear it for so many levels, and then it fades off. I mean, it's a long ways up there. And already you can't hear it, but it's got a long ways you have to go. Shut that down now. See, it's just barely halfway over there. That thing's got to run all the way up to 56 before it resets to 0, and these things all come down and then start again at 4 seconds. They'll all come down at 4 seconds. That one, first row opens, second row opens, third row opens, fourth row opens, fifth row opens, and so on every 4 seconds. Now what I was saying about what I was saying about not using a splitter for your to split up your solar panel source, if you're going to use that or whatever your power is to run multiple blockers. See, like all of these have blockers down at the bottom. Notice how they're all blocked? Well, no splitter. They're all being blocked by each of these, because each of these, instead of splitting the power, you can only split it so many ways, and it just gets less and less each time you split it. But this way, you're retaining the same amount of power that you put into it, say 100 units of power or whatever it is, and you're only using, it's only configured for 2, and you're using each one of those configured for 2 to go to the blocker, and the rest of it just loops from the power side to the input of the other one. Power side to the input, power side to the input, and you can go ahead and just hook all those up first if you know how many you're going to do. And then from the branch side, you run them up and over here and run them to all your blockers. And you'll use a lot less power. Of course, it's really convenient just to throw a splitter up there and just split it. You can only split it so many times, and you're losing power each time you're doing that. It's kind of the same concept over there, but it's also a lot neater. But that's the basic setup. As you can see, like I was saying, this is just that one routine I showed you for the time on the doors, just routined over and over and over again, hooked together, and then hitting resets all the way across the bottom. And the same thing on the lights upstairs. there you have it. The Wheezing Lighthouse. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, sure appreciate it if you would put a like down there. I got chores to do. So, I guess that's going to do it for this little edition. Hope you like what you saw. I guess we'll see you in the next one.